Hi, this is Vivian Rain, and this video is going to discuss a little bit about the importance of enrolling patients in our care plan on the day that they are there for their consult. So I have some really probably strong views on this, so I thought that it was worth a video about it. You know, one of the things that happens sometimes, especially with people who are newer, is they have a consult with the patient and they say they're totally coming back, they're really serious about it. I can definitely see that they just needed to talk to so-and-so or handle XYZ. They're coming back on Friday, etc. And they're going to be waiting for a long time for those people. I will tell you it's probably 1 in 100, 1 in 100, maybe 2 that come back. And I'll tell you why. People do not leave to talk themselves into something. They talk themselves out of something. And in order to, make a decision on an investment and to do something for your health like what we do, it takes a lot of confront and some tough conversations and an investment and a willingness to take a look at what's going on with you and what will happen if you don't do anything about this. And these are not pretty conversations. It is much easier when they leave to go on about life, minimizing whatever's happening, and convince themselves it's not needed, or they don't have the money, or not to spend it, or that it's too far, or my doctor didn't know about it, whatever it is. It's a lot easier to find a reason and to talk yourself out of it once they're out of the office, because that's what they've been doing for quite some time. When a patient comes for an exam and a consult, right, they are stepping up and saying, I know something's going on. I know something's not ideal here. Most people do not, majority of people, every once in a while you get a wackadoo, but most people do not go to doctor's appointments and talk about things that are wrong with them for fun. They're taking that one small step, and their reach is generally pretty light, but it's big enough that they know something's going wrong and that they need help with it. We have a responsibility to deliver on that help. I am going to share with you, if you're new, maybe you don't know this. I have shared it in some of our videos when I feel like it is relevant. I share this story mostly out of what I consider to be a responsibility for letting you know the responsibility you have for these patients. My stepfather was a amputee from neuropathy. He had his leg amputated a couple years ago. He had been dealing with an open wound because we were at a beach bonfire and he was warming his feet because they were cold because he had neuropathy. And my mom smelled something burning and it was his feet. And he had severe burns on both of his feet. He had melted off his skin. He was hospitalized and put on wound vacs. My mom almost lost her business during this time of dealing with the hospitalization. Wound vacs, when they're on your feet, you can't walk. So he was bedridden. And one of the wounds on one of his feet never healed. And he actually had to have an amputation after they had taken parts of toes and things. It was really hard on him, physically, emotionally. It was hard on their marriage. It was hard on us as children to watch this happen. It was hard on my daughter, his granddaughter, to see him go through this and to end up an amputee. The thing that happened that most people don't realize even after that is he lived a very sedentary and immobile life. People think you get a prosthetic and you can get back to walking again, and it's not really the case. And the rehab is hard, especially if you're not someone in good health. And as a result of his sedentary life, not only did he really not leave the house, but a lot of physical things set in. And it was really difficult on my mother and him and my daughter and I and my sister. He didn't make it to my wedding because he couldn't travel. He didn't make it to my sister's wedding because he couldn't travel. He didn't see my daughter when she was away at school. He missed, her events in life, and it was, I think, a lot more intense than a lot of people who haven't been through it realize. As a result of this, his health deteriorated quickly, and he died about 8 or 9 weeks ago. And so I tell you this not as a sob story, but hopefully to inspire and empower you to enroll patients on the same day. And that's the whole point of this video. He was very quiet about what was going on with him. He wouldn't let me treat him. He wouldn't come to the office. I think handling your parents is pretty difficult sometimes if it's a little bit close of a dynamic. And so when our patients come to us, we get to be an uninvolved, like in the family uninvolved, caring party who can have the tough conversations. And if they don't leave, if we don't do everything we possibly can and they leave and they don't do our care, this is a disease which degenerates and will get worse over time. It's just a matter of time. We don't know how fast, and we don't know if something else will kill them first, but it will get worse. And the end stages are amputations and the deterioration of life and livingness, so to speak, that occurs throughout. And it doesn't just affect that patient. It affects their families, their spouses, their grandchildren, much more than these people know at the point of time in which they're in our office generally. So my comment to you about enrolling patients same day is people don't leave to talk themselves into something. And statistically, you banking on that is folly. I would do anything necessary and say the tough things and have the tough conversation, especially if they're going to walk out, to call them out on it, to ask the right questions, to, engage them in any way possible so they don't suffer the fate that my dad and my family did. I mean this very sincerely, as you can tell. I have a passion about this, and I think we have a ginormous sense of responsibility. I think it takes raising up your willingness and confront in order to do so. I think you need to know that what we do works. And if you don't know that yet, you should figure that out today. Go figure out what we do. Go talk to patients who it's working for. Of course, you're going to get a sour patient it doesn't work for here and there. For us, that's about a 2% minority. And so I have every confidence that if you go truly see what we're doing here, you will have conviction enough to have the tough conversations and not to buy into the "they're coming back" line. It is not happening, and we are better than that, and they deserve better than that. So we have one shot with these people, and you really need to look at it as one shot, and you need to give it your best swing, and you need to get an enrollment that day. I can tell you, had that occurred for my family, my life would have been much different with my stepdad and for my mother. And for the families that will never know the fate you saved them from, as a daughter of a person who suffered from this, I will be the one to thank you for them. They really do not understand what you having this conversation and enrolling their parent or grandparent has done for their life. And hopefully they won't know, because it won't ever be a future they have to experience. But it takes having the tough conversation and pushing for getting started that day. It is a great service you do to our patients, and I know that it's not always an easy conversation. So from me to you, thank you. Thank you for being willing to see into the future that they cannot, and say what others will not, and require it of them what others don't. It's admirable, and you have my full support and anything you need to accomplish that. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.